and welcome back to part 2 of my Q&A. I will leave part 1 linked up above and down below. Yeah, check it out first if you want to, but long story short, I just talked too much. It got too long, so we're making a part 2. So let's dive back in. Why did you choose to buy a home in the place that you did? There are numerous other locations that are more popular with expats, for example, Madalena or Santo Amaro. I'm curious about what drew you to this specific village. Well, I guess there are multiple smaller answers and one big answer to this question. Some of the smaller answers include that because of the expats, Madalena and Santo Amaro are... wow, that was so weird. Are just way too expensive for my partner and I. We are not a high income rich foreigner couple, like at all. And we are very much on like the wage of the local population, and for us it was just not affordable. We couldn't afford to live in those spaces. I'm also not really orientating myself to where other expats are, because I'm not really here to just be with other expats. Like, I am friends with other expats, obviously, but they are not the reason I'm here. And therefore I wouldn't necessarily look for a neighborhood specifically full of expats. That's just not important to me. But the real, honest, bigger answer is that we didn't really like chose a village and look there specifically. We had like a radius that was quite big, but we had like a radius of like the work of my partner and like everything in like a 30-minute radius from there, preferably on one specific side of the island. That was where we were looking, and that was our preferred region, but we were completely open to which village we would end up in. We looked for a lot of different places, and we actually, before we bought the house that we did, we had 2 other things that we almost bought, but then life happened and it got like taken away from us by life and fate, and thank God it did. It saved us from a lot of heartache and headache. But yeah, so we were definitely open to live in other places as well. It was just a matter of finding the perfect house with the perfect land within the budget that we had. But I am so happy that we ended up in the house that we did, because I love my neighbors and I love my village, and I'm so happy that it turned out to be there. And there is actually a funny story about that whole scenario that once again just makes me believe in fate, I guess. And that is when my partner and I just started dating. It was like in the first couple of weeks of our relationship. We were just driving around on the island, just, you know, some landscape driving, as you sometimes do when you have nothing else to do here. And we ended up in the village that we now live, and we were both like, wow, that's so awesome here, it's so beautiful. And we were both joking that, oh, if we ever move in together and buy a house, it should be here. And it was just a joke at the time, because he wanted to leave the island and I was completely uncertain what my future was holding for me. So it was really nothing serious, but life happened. Here we are. And the house that we ended up in actually was for sale already, and we saw it already back then, but we never thought about it. We were never like serious about it. And then in January of this year, 2022, we remembered that this house existed. We remembered that day. And then we contacted them and saw the house, and everything turned out perfect. I am curious why the walls you are adding are with cement and blocks rather than using wood and drywall, as it seems like it would be cheaper and faster. This is such an interesting question, because honestly, we never even thought about it. Because in Europe, drywall is not common. Like, that's a very American thing. So it wasn't even an option in our heads, and I don't think our constructor works with drywall. I don't know if there's anybody here that works with drywall. Probably, because there's a lot of American influence here. But I don't know. Like, again, we never even thought about it, and now the walls are done and we're happy with the way they are. It also helps with insulating heat and just giving more stability. And yeah, but interesting question. Now that you're renovating your new home, do you feel like you're becoming a part of the community there? What are the biggest challenges you have faced fitting in with a different culture? Those are two incredible questions. I love them, and both of them would make up an entire video. So if you guys are interested in more elaborate answers to these questions, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will think about making another video about this. But I'm gonna try and answer this shortly, and I am so bad at this. Do I feel more connected to the community? Yes and no. Because yes, of course, like I love my neighbors and I really feel like I've settled, because literally until the day that we signed the paper of the house, it was unclear if we were going to stay on the island. It was a little bit like this house or nothing. At that point, it was a very intense time. So like to be able to really settle and know that we are definitely going to stay long term, maybe even forever, is of course like that makes you, that just your mindset changes, I guess. And again, our neighbors, our village is awesome, and it just, yeah, in that way, yes, but also no. And the reason for that is just that A, we are not living in the house yet, and B, my Portuguese is really bad. I have multiple reasons why my Portuguese isn't better at this point, but at the end of the day, the reasons don't really matter. It is what it is. And I feel like if one day I reach a level of Portuguese where I can have deeper conversations with people, that is when I feel really connected. Because right now it's just very much very shallow small talk that I can do. And everything beyond that is out of my reach. So of course, like that's an issue, but that is an issue on me, and that is something that will hopefully change in the next couple of years. The biggest challenge, that's such a good question. I think if I'm like super honest, it's friendships, hands down. And I mean both finding new friends, especially because I'm like the type of person, I love deep friendship, you know, like the people, life or death people, the people that you have super deep conversations with, the people that you can call in an emergency, like that kind of friendship. And that's been very hard for me to find, but also to navigate the friendships that I already had. I have lived in the same town in Germany my entire life, so I'm like very used to be able to see my friends all of the time and whenever I want to. And now I suddenly have moved 4,000 kilometers away to a place where I cannot spontaneously leave, because I cannot just jump on a train or into a car and drive for a few hours and see them. No, I have to fly, take multiple flights. In the winter, it might take multiple days to travel. And the cost each time is somewhere between 400 and 800 euros, which I just don't have. And I also don't want to fly so much because, again, I'm an environmentalist, so duh. I only fly when it's necessary. So I kind of have removed myself from the lives of the people that I love the most. And that is so difficult sometimes. There come so many challenges with that, and it's been a very hard thing to navigate. Would you have thought that you would stay on Pico Island and leave Germany as you first came to the Azores? Not really, I think. If you saw the My Story series, you know that my journey to come here was very up and down and chaotic and just not linear at all. But in 2015, I first visited São Miguel and I immediately felt at home. But I was still in a very different place in my life. At the time, I thought I was gonna become a travel influencer. And I had a partner who was like a career person and all that kind of stuff. I was still in university, I was still studying, so I had no idea what life had in store for me. I was in love with the place and my heart already felt at home and had like this longing, and I got homesick for the Azores after I left. And I was like, I feel like I'm homesick, but like that makes no sense. Like I barely know this place. And then when I came to Pico in 2018 for an 8-month internship that I did, I had a very hard time in the beginning, but that had less to do with the island and more to do with mental health, and some circumstances that I was in. So in the beginning, absolutely not. I was just like, oh my God, this is hell, because my brain was hell at the time. But then, because I was able to heal from a lot of the stuff that was going on while I was here, I completely fell in love. And by the end of those 8 months, I had like a feeling of like, oh, I would love to live here, but I have no idea how to make it work. So I thought I would never be able to move here, but I always wanted to move here, if that makes sense. And the final question, why did you choose Pico over the other islands? That's an awesome question as well. And to be honest, just like with the house, I feel it has been kind of fate, because I would have never in a billion years guessed how my life would happen. Since I took the chance in 2018 to come to Pico, my life has been this incredible, intense roller coaster, and it has never been the same. And so many things have happened that are just incredible and just don't make sense and are just, yeah, I cannot explain them in any other way but fate, really. I have visited 8 of the 9 islands. The only one I'm missing is Graciosa, as I mentioned earlier. And I do see the charm and beauty in every single one of the island. I also see that they're all unique and that the living experience is very different on each island. But my heart really belongs to Pico. I cannot, and I cannot even explain it. I feel like the culture here, the generosity, and the kindness of people here is just on a completely different level. And the roughness of the island, the wilderness of the nature here, and just the big volcano, just spiritually, are just so anchored in my heart that I just the thought of leaving leaves me anxious. At the end of 2019, I was a bit at a crossroad because I wanted to stay on the island, but I didn't know how to make that happen. And I had a job opportunity on San Miguel Island that would have started in March of 2020. And my gut feeling was saying no, because that job opportunity was on San Miguel and not on Pico. And I was like, yeah, but I want to stay on Pico. I don't want to live on San Miguel. I love San Miguel. And if somebody would force me at gunpoint to move to a different island within the archipelago, it would probably be San Miguel, because I really like the island and I have friends there. But I just had this huge gut feeling, and thank God. Because again, the job would have started in March of 2020, and we all know what happened then. So I dodged a bullet there, but it's really just like this feeling in the core of my heart that this really is my home, and I want this to be my home, and I want this to be my community and my family and my island, and that's it. As long as no one or nothing, like health or something, is forcing me to leave, I think I will stay here. I'm just every time I look at the volcano, I just feel so much love, and I'm so happy. And every matanza that I attend, I'm just so happy. And you know, like the people here, the culture, the simplicity, the nature, the volcano, just everything's just so awesome and beautiful, and I could not be more grateful to have ended up here. Thank you so much for listening to my long rambles. I hope this Q&A was interesting or helpful for you. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I might do another Q&A at some point, so let me know what you think, or if you have any other questions, and I see you in my next video. Goodbye.